There's a woman in America right now. She's worth more than most celebrities you follow, more powerful than CEOs you read about, but you've never heard her name. She built an empire worth hundreds of millions, and she did it by staying completely silent. While other women fought for recognition, she disappeared. While others demanded credit, she erased her tracks. While the world celebrated loud success, she became invisible, and that silence made her untouchable. This isn't a fairy tale. This is happening right now in the United States. A mother who understood something most people never learn. Sometimes the quietest voice builds the loudest empire, but the truth behind her silence will shock you, because she didn't choose silence out of weakness. She chose it as a weapon, and what she built in the shadows changed everything for her family. Here's what you're about to discover. First, the real reason she disappeared from public view. It wasn't shame or fear, it was strategy. Second, how her silence became worth more than a Harvard degree. The hidden skill she mastered that made her irreplaceable. And third, the moment her family realized who she really was. The day her silence finally broke. And what happened next? This story will change how you think about power, about mothers, about what it really means to build an empire. Let me show you exactly how this happened. Her name isn't important. That's the first thing you need to understand. She made sure of that. In America, we celebrate the loud ones, the women who speak up, who demand attention, who fight for the spotlight. And those women are important. But this mother knew something different. She grew up in the Midwest in the 1970s. Regular family, regular neighborhood, regular everything. Her father worked at a factory. Her mother cleaned houses. They had enough but never extra. She watched her parents argue about money every Sunday night. The same fight, the same stress, the same ending. And she made a decision at 12 years old. She would never let money control her life. But here's the first surprise. She didn't want to be rich. She wanted to be invisible and secure. Those two things together, that's the secret. By 16, she was already different. While her friends spent their paychecks on clothes and concerts, she saved. While they talked about their dreams, she stayed quiet and planned. People thought she was shy. They had no idea what was really happening. She got married at 22 to a man who loved her calm nature. He worked in construction. Good man. Hard worker. They had their first child within a year. Then 2 more kids in the next 4 years. 3 children before she turned 27. The American dream, right? Wrong. Because most American families with 3 kids are drowning. Drowning in debt. Drowning in stress. Drowning in noise. But not this family. Here's the second surprise. While her husband earned the paychecks, she built the real wealth. And nobody noticed for 15 years. Not her husband. Not her kids. Not her neighbors. She worked from home before it was common. She made decisions that seemed small but weren't. She created systems that looked simple but were brilliant. And she never ever talked about it. Her sister-in-law once asked her, "Don't you want to work? Use your brain." She just smiled and said, "I'm happy at home." That was 1995. By 2010, she was worth more than everyone in her family combined. But here's what makes this story different from every other success story. She never wanted anyone to know. Not for modesty, not for humility, for protection. She understood something about America that most people miss. The moment people know you have money, you become a target. Family asks for loans. Friends expect generosity. Strangers want opportunities. Your children grow up entitled. Your marriage becomes about money. Everything changes. So she made a choice that seemed impossible. She would build an empire that no one could see. Now here's where things get really interesting. The empire started with silence about something simple. Groceries. Yes, groceries. In 1994, she spent $600 a month feeding her family of 5. That was normal for most families, but she saw something others didn't. She noticed that families who talked about saving money never actually saved. They complained about prices. They shared coupons. They discussed deals, but their bank accounts stayed empty. So she tried an experiment. She stopped talking about money completely, to her husband, to her friends, to everyone. And something changed. When you stop talking, you start seeing. She realized American families waste money in patterns, same mistakes, week after week. So she built the system. Every Sunday, she planned meals for the entire week. She bought only what was on the list. She cooked everything from scratch. Within 3 months, her grocery bill dropped to $320. That's $280 saved every month. $3,360 a year. Her husband never noticed. The food was still good. The family was still fed. But $3,360 was now hers to invest. Here's where it gets interesting. She didn't put it in a savings account. She put it into a skill. In 1994, the internet was just starting. Most people didn't understand it, but she saw something: businesses needed websites. So she taught herself HTML. Every night after the kids went to bed. No classes, no degree, just books from the library. Her husband thought she was reading romance novels. She was learning to code. By 1995, she was building simple websites for local businesses. She charged $500 per website. Small businesses thought that was cheap. They had no idea she was doing it from her kitchen table. She built 5 websites that first year. That's $2,500, plus her grocery savings of $3,360. Total, $5,860 in hidden income. Her husband earned $42,000 that year at his construction job. He thought he was the provider. He had no idea his wife was earning $5,860 on the side. But here's the genius part. She didn't spend it. She invested it in something nobody was talking about yet: domain names. In 1995, you could register a website domain for $100. Most people thought it was a scam. Why would anyone pay $100 for a name on the internet? She saw the future. She registered 15 domain names that year. Generic names, simple names, names businesses would want. She spent $1,500 of her secret income. Her husband never noticed the money was gone. By 1998, those domains were worth $45,000. She sold 3 of them for $15,000 each. That's $45,000 in profit from a $1,500 investment, a 3,000% return, and she still had 12 domains left. Her husband was making $48,000 a year now. She had just made $45,000 in secret, but she still kept silent. Here's why this matters to you. Most people think building wealth requires a big break, a promotion, an inheritance, a lottery win. But she proved something different. Small invisible moves compound faster than big visible ones. Because when nobody's watching, nobody's interfering. Her friends were asking their husbands for money to start businesses, getting rejected, getting judged, getting discouraged. She just built in silence. By 2000, she had a problem. A good problem, but still a problem. She was worth $127,000 in cash and investments. Her husband thought they had $8,000 in savings. She was hiding $119,000 from him, and the silence was getting harder. But if you think that's crazy, wait until you hear this. The year 2000 changed everything. Her youngest child started school full-time. For the first time in 10 years, she had real time alone. Her husband suggested she get a real job, maybe work at a store, maybe work at a school. She agreed to think about it, but she had other plans. She took $50,000 of her hidden money, and she bought something nobody in her neighborhood would understand: rental property, but not the kind you're thinking of. In 2000, most people bought rental houses and became landlords, dealing with tenants, fixing toilets, collecting rent. She saw that model and knew it wouldn't work for her. Too visible, too much interaction, too many problems. She needed something more silent, so she bought something different: storage units. A small storage facility in a growing suburb outside her city. 24 units. Purchased for $180,000. She put down $50,000. The bank gave her a loan for $130,000. Her husband had no idea. She registered the property under an LLC, a business entity with a generic name that meant nothing. The loan didn't show up on their personal credit. The monthly payments came from her secret bank account. And here's the beautiful part. Storage units are the most silent business in America. People rent them, fill them, and forget about them. They pay automatically every month. No calls, no complaints, no drama. The average American storage customer rents for 18 months, and 30% of them keep renting for years. She was making $7,200 a month in rental income. Her costs were $2,800 a month in loan payments and maintenance. Net profit, $4,400 per month. That's $52,800 a year. Her husband was making $52,000 a year. She was matching his income with a business he didn't know existed. But here's where her silence became true strategy. Her husband got laid off in 2002. The construction industry crashed in their area. He was depressed. He was scared. He was angry. He thought they would lose everything. She let him think that for 3 days. Then she sat him down and told him half the truth. "I've been doing some web design work," she said. "I have about $15,000 saved up. We'll be okay for a few months." He was shocked. He was grateful. He was relieved. He had no idea the real number was $247,000. She gave him hope without giving him the full truth. because she understood something critical. People handle money differently when they think they have it. Her husband needed to feel the pressure to find a new job. If he knew they were wealthy, he might relax, might take his time, might make bad decisions. So she protected him with partial truth. He found a new job within 2 months. Better job, better pay, $58,000 a year. And she went back to her silent empire building. By 2005, she owned 3 storage facilities. She was making $14,000 a month in net profit. That's $168,000 a year. Her husband was making $64,000. She was making almost 3 times his income, and he still had no idea. But here's what makes this truly brilliant. She wasn't just hiding money. She was building a safety net that no one could take away. In 2008, the economy crashed. Millions of Americans lost everything. Homes foreclosed, businesses closed, families destroyed. Her husband's company laid off 30% of their workers. He survived, but his hours were cut. His income dropped to $45,000. Their neighbors were panicking, but she wasn't worried. Her storage businesses actually grew during the recession. When people lose their homes, they need storage. When people downsize, they need storage. Economic pain became her profit. She expanded during the crash, bought 2 more facilities at discount prices. Banks were desperate to sell. She paid cash. By 2010, she owned 5 storage facilities. She was making $28,000 a month. That's $336,000 a year. She was worth over $1.2 million, and her husband still thought she was just a stay-at-home mom who did a little web design. But here's the part that changes everything. Her silence wasn't about hiding from her husband anymore. It was about protecting her family from themselves. Her oldest daughter was 16 in 2010. Smart girl, good grades, big dreams. She wanted to go to an expensive private college. $60,000 a year. 4 years. That's $240,000. Most families would panic, take on massive debt, destroy their future, sacrifice everything. This mother had a different plan. And this brings us to the most shocking discovery of all. The day her silence broke wasn't dramatic. There was no family meeting, no big announcement, just a simple conversation that changed everything. Her daughter got accepted to her dream school in 2011. Full price, no scholarships, $60,000 a year. The daughter was crying. I can't go. We can't afford it. Her father agreed. We'll find a good state school. The mother was quiet. Then she said 5 words that stopped everyone. She's going. I'll handle it. Her husband looked confused. Handle it how? I have the money, she said. The room went silent. Her husband's face changed from confusion to anger to disbelief. What money? What are you talking about? She took out a folder. Inside were documents, financial statements, property deeds. She laid them on the kitchen table one by one. 5 storage facilities, portfolio of investments, business bank accounts, total net worth, $1.4 million. Her husband couldn't speak. Her daughter couldn't breathe. Her 2 sons just stared. After 15 minutes of silence, her husband asked the only question that mattered. Why didn't you tell me? Her answer is why this story matters. Because if you knew we were rich, you would have stopped trying. You would have stopped working hard, stopped pushing yourself. Our kids would have grown up entitled. They would have expected money instead of earning their own way. I stayed silent to protect all of you from comfort. Comfort destroys more families than poverty ever will. The room stayed silent. Because she was right. Her husband thought about the times he almost quit, the times he wanted to give up, the times he pushed through because he thought his family needed him. If he had known they were millionaires, would he have tried as hard? Probably not. Her children thought about their own lives. They had part-time jobs. They saved money. They earned scholarships. If they had known their mother was rich, would they have tried as hard? Definitely not. Her silence had built more than an empire. It built character in her family. But here's the twist nobody saw coming. This wasn't just about money. This was about identity. Her husband thought he was the provider. That identity made him strong, made him proud, made him a man. If she had told him the truth 10 years earlier, it would have destroyed him. He would have felt worthless, unnecessary, replaced. Their marriage would have died. So she let him be the hero while she was the kingdom. And it worked. But now that the truth was out, everything had to change. Her husband took 3 days to process. Then he came back with a question. question. What do you need from me now? She smiled. Nothing. You've already given me everything. You gave me stability. You gave me cover. You gave me trust. I built the empire, but you created the space for me to build it. That's worth more than money. Some women would have felt angry in her position. Why should she credit her husband for her success? But she understood something deeper. Success is never truly solo. She needed his steady income to take risks with hers. She needed his presence with the kids so she could work at night. She needed his trust so she could operate without questions. He wasn't her obstacle. He was her foundation. And that realization changed how her family saw everything. Her daughter went to the expensive school, graduated debt-free, but she still worked 2 jobs during college because her mother made one thing clear. I paid for your education. You paid for your lifestyle. Her sons watched and learned. By the time they went to college, they had both started small businesses, not because they needed money, because they wanted to be like their mother. By 2015, the family dynamic had completely changed. Her husband retired at 55, not because he was lazy, because he had earned it. He had worked 33 years in construction. His body was breaking down. She could afford to let him rest. They bought a simple house in a quiet neighborhood. Nothing flashy, nothing obvious, because she taught her family the most important lesson. Rich people who look rich lose their money. Rich people who look normal keep their money. By 2020, she was worth $3.8 million. 5 storage facilities, real estate investments, stock portfolio. She was earning $420,000 a year in passive income. Her husband was happy. Her kids were thriving. And she was still relatively unknown. Her neighbors thought she was lucky. Her friends thought she was smart. Nobody knew she was wealthy. And that's exactly how she wanted it. But here's the final piece that makes this story complete. At the wedding, the daughter gave a speech. She thanked her father for being strong. She thanked her brothers for being supportive. Then she turned to her mother. My mother taught me the most important lesson of my life. She taught me that silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. She taught me that power doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be real. And she taught me that the greatest gift you can give your family isn't money. It's teaching them how to live without needing it. The room erupted in applause, but only the family understood what she really meant. So what does all this mean for us today? This story matters right now more than ever, because American culture is obsessed with visibility, social media, reality TV, influencer culture. Everyone wants to be seen. Everyone wants to be famous. Everyone wants credit for their success. But this mother proved the opposite path works better. Let's break down exactly what she understood that most people miss. First, visibility creates vulnerability. The moment people know you have money, you become a target. Not from criminals, from family. Statistics show that 64% of lottery winners are asked for money by family members, and 43% of those relationships are permanently damaged. Money doesn't bring families together. Knowledge of money tears them apart. This mother avoided that by staying invisible. Her siblings never asked her for loans. Her cousins never expected help. Her friends never felt resentment. She protected her relationships by protecting her privacy. Second, she understood the difference between income and wealth. Her husband made income. She built wealth. Income is what you earn. Wealth is what you keep. Most Americans confuse the two. They think a bigger salary makes them wealthier. But studies show that 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Even people making $100,000 a year. Because income without strategy just means bigger expenses. She built wealth by keeping her lifestyle small while her assets grew. Her family lived on $60,000 a year in expenses, even when she was earning $400,000. The difference went into assets that produced more income. That's how empires are built. Third, she mastered the art of strategic silence. Not lying, not deception, strategic omission. There's a difference between hiding information and protecting people from it. Child psychologists say that kids under 18 shouldn't know their family's full financial status. Creates anxiety, entitlement, or both. She understood this instinctively. She gave her family enough truth to feel secure, but not enough truth to become complacent. That balance is the secret to raising strong kids. Fourth, she proved that the best businesses are boring. Storage units aren't sexy. Nobody dreams of owning storage facilities, but that's exactly why they work. Warren Buffett calls it economic moats. Businesses that nobody wants to compete in because they're boring. But boring means stable. Boring means predictable. Boring means profitable. She chose boring over exciting, and boring made her rich. Fifth, she understood timing. She bought storage facilities in 2000 to 2008, right before the recession. Most people thought she was crazy. Who buys buys property before a crash. But she saw something others didn't. Economic pain creates specific needs, and those needs create opportunity. She profited from the recession not because she's heartless, but because she provided a service people genuinely needed. When people lose their homes, they need storage. She didn't create their pain. She just helped them manage it while building her empire. Here's what this means for you today. You don't need a big idea to build wealth. You need a silent strategy. Most people fail at wealth building because they announce their plans. They tell everyone about their business idea. They post about their investments. They share their income on social media. And every announcement creates 3 problems. Problem 1, people judge you. Problem 2, people copy you. Problem 3, people expect you to fail. All 3 create resistance. She avoided all of that by staying silent. She built in private. She succeeded in private. She only revealed her success when it was too late for anyone to interfere. But here's the deeper lesson. Her story shows that there are 2 types of power: visible power and invisible power. Visible power is what we celebrate. CEOs, politicians, celebrities, they have influence, but they also have pressure. Everyone watches them. Everyone judges them. Everyone wants something from them. Invisible power is different. It operates in the shadows. It builds without attention. It grows without resistance. And it's far more sustainable. Think about it. Who has more real power? The celebrity with 10 million followers who's always being attacked? Or the billionaire you've never heard of who controls entire industries? Invisible power wins every time. This mother chose invisible power, and it gave her something visible power never could. Peace. She doesn't have paparazzi. She doesn't have haters. She doesn't have people questioning every decision. She just has wealth, family, and freedom. That's the empire she built. Not buildings or brands, but freedom and choice. Here's what you can learn from this. If you're building something, stop announcing it. If you're investing, stop sharing your portfolio. If you're succeeding, stop posting about it. Build in silence. Grow in silence. Win in silence. Then celebrate when it's too late for anyone to stop you. This isn't about being secretive. It's about being strategic. There's a reason Special Forces operators don't wear medals on their uniforms. There's a reason billionaires drive normal cars. There's a reason smart people ask questions instead of giving answers. They understand that visibility creates vulnerability, and silence creates strength. Before we wrap up, there's one final thing you need to know. The story doesn't end with her success. It ends with what she did next. In 2023, her youngest son turned 30. All 3 of her children were married now. All 3 had careers. All 3 had their own money. The family met for Christmas. Her husband, now 66, was healthy and happy. Her children brought their spouses and kids. 7 grandchildren running around. A beautiful American family. After dinner, she asked everyone to sit down. She had something to tell them. Her kids exchanged worried looks. Was she sick? Was something wrong? She smiled and pulled out a folder, just like she did in 2011. But this time the contents were different. Inside were legal documents, trust documents. Each of her 3 children had their own trust fund, $800,000 each. They couldn't access it until they turned 40. Her children were stunned. Her grandchildren didn't understand what was happening. Her daughter-in-law started crying. But here's the twist. The money came with rules. Rule 1, they couldn't tell anyone outside the family. Rule 2, they had to continue working until they turned 40. Rule 3, they had to teach their own children the same values. Work hard. Live below your means. Build in silence. If they violated any rule, the trust would be donated to charity. Her oldest daughter asked the obvious question, why wait until we're 40? Her mother's answer is the final lesson.
Because at 40, you'll know who you really are. You'll have faced real struggles, real failures, real success. If I gave you this money at 25, it would ruin you. If I gave it to you at 30, you'd waste it. But at 40, you'll have the wisdom to use it right. This isn't an inheritance. It's a test. The test is whether you can live a successful life without knowing this money exists. If you can do that, then you've earned it. The room was silent again. Because once again, she was right. Studies show that 70% of inherited wealth is lost by the second generation, and 90% is lost by the third. Why? Because the people who inherit money didn't build the skills to manage it. They didn't develop the discipline to protect it. They didn't learn the lessons that created it. This mother understood that, so she built in a delay, a 20-year delay for some of her kids, a 10-year delay for others. Time for them to build their own empires first. Time for them to understand the value of what she built. Her youngest son asked a different question. What about you you and Dad? What's your plan? She looked at her husband and smiled. We're going to disappear for a while.
They had bought an RV, a simple RV, nothing luxury. They were going to travel America for 2 years, visit every state, see every landmark, live simply, live quietly, no schedule, no pressure, no noise, just two people who built something impossible, enjoying the freedom that silence created. Her husband spoke for the first time that night. Your mother taught me something important, he said. I thought I was the provider. I thought I was the foundation, and maybe I was, but she was the architect. I built the house. She built the empire, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I married someone smarter than me. I'm proud that I trusted her even when I didn't know what she was doing, and I'm proud that our kids learned from the best. That moment captured everything. A man secure enough to admit his wife outplayed him, a woman gracious enough to share the credit, a family strong enough to handle wealth without letting it destroy them. That's the real empire. Not money, not property, not assets. Character, the ability to have wealth without letting wealth have you. As the family left that night, her daughter pulled her aside. Mom, can I ask you one more question? Of course. Do you ever regret staying silent for so long? The mother thought about it. 25 years of secrets, 25 years of working alone, 25 years of carrying the weight by herself. Not for a second, she said, because silence gave me something talking never could. It gave me the power to build exactly what I wanted, without permission, without judgment, without interference. That's worth more than any amount of money. Her daughter hugged her, and in that moment understood what her mother had really built. Not a business empire, a legacy of strength. If this opened your eyes to a different kind of power, you need to understand something. Let's talk about what you just learned, because this story isn't just about one woman. It's about a principle that works for anyone. First takeaway, silence is a competitive advantage. In a world where everyone broadcasts everything, invisibility is power. Your competition can't copy what they can't see. Your critics can't attack what they don't know about. Your family can't interfere with what they don't understand. Build your empire in private. Celebrate in private. Share only when it's too late for anyone to stop you. Second takeaway, boring businesses create real wealth. Storage units, laundromats, car washes. These aren't sexy. They're not exciting, but they're profitable, stable, and nobody wants to compete. Stop chasing trendy business ideas. Start building boring businesses that print money. Third takeaway, protect your family from comfort. Comfort kills ambition faster than poverty. If your kids grow up knowing they're rich, they'll never develop the skills to stay rich. Give them enough security to feel safe, but enough challenge to stay hungry. That balance creates generational wealth. Fourth takeaway, your spouse doesn't need to know everything. This isn't about deception. It's about protection. Sometimes the kindest thing you can do is let people feel needed. Her husband needed to feel like the provider, so she let him, while building something bigger behind the scenes. That's strategy, not betrayal. Now here's what you do next. If you're working a regular job right now, start building something on the side. Something nobody knows about. Something small. Something boring. Something profitable. Don't announce it on social media. Don't tell your friends. Don't even tell your family until it's making real money. Just build in silence. If you're already building a business, stop talking about it so much. Every post about your success invites competition. Every announcement about your plans invites copycats. Every flex about your income invites judgment. Go quiet. Work harder. Let your results speak when you're ready. If you're a parent, stop telling your kids every detail about your finances. They don't need to know your salary. They don't need to know your net worth. They need to know you work hard and live smart. That's enough. The details create entitlement. The principles create character. Here's what I want from you right now. Hit the subscribe button if this story changed how you think about success, because we're going to explore more stories like this. Stories about people who built empires in the shadows. Stories about silent strategies that create loud results. Stories about the power of invisible wealth. And drop a comment answering this one question. What's one thing you're building right now that nobody knows about? You don't have to give details. Just acknowledge that you're playing the long game, because that acknowledgement creates accountability. When you write it down, even anonymously, it becomes real. And real commitments create real results. If you want to go deeper on this strategy, watch the next video we're releasing. It's about another hidden figure in American business. Someone who built a $500 million empire while everyone thought he was broke. His strategy was even more extreme than this mother's, and his results were even bigger. That video drops in 3 days. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. But before you go, I want to leave you with one final thought. The woman in this story isn't rare. There are thousands of silent empire builders in America right now. People operating businesses you've never heard of. People building wealth you can't see. People living completely normal lives while accumulating extraordinary resources. They're not on Forbes lists. They're not on social media. They're not on TV. They're just quietly winning. And the only thing separating them from everyone else is one decision. The decision to build in silence. To grow without validation. To succeed without announcement. That decision changes everything. Because once you stop needing credit, you start building legacy. Once you stop needing attention, you start accumulating power. Once you stop needing approval, you start achieving freedom. This mother proved it. 25 years of silence created 50 years of security. Her grandchildren will benefit from choices she made in 1994. That's generational impact. And it started with the simplest decision. To work hard and stay quiet. To build an empire while looking like a regular mom. To become powerful without looking powerful. That's the secret. Now you know it. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you keep announcing every move? Or will you disappear and build something real? The choice is yours. But remember this. The loudest empires collapse first. The quietest empires last forever. Choose silence. Choose strategy. Choose legacy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.